the man who changed the game for digital creators everywhere, the ultimate innovator, Jimmy Donaldson, a.k.a. Mr. Beast.
Thank you for having me, everybody. It's an honor to be here. Terry, thank you for the nice introduction, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, too. So the special thing about this talk is it isn't just Terry. It's not just me. But we also have another special guest for you guys. We brought arguably the biggest streamer to ever exist, ishowspeed. Send him on out.
Welcome to my family. How's it going, everybody? Mr. Ronaldo what? Mr. Ronaldo what? Everything is real, man. We finally in Brazil. I won the Ballon d'Or, bro. Oh my God. Love y'all boys. I love you so much.
Yes. All right. Have a seat, guys. Have a seat. You are looking at two of the most famous people on earth, period. These guys are kings at what they do. But let's talk about the journey, man. I mean, it's a little bit, we see where you are right now, but everybody wants to know, how did you get here? What were the things that you did just to get to this point? I'm gonna start with you, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, it's like me asking you guys, how did you get where you are? Summarizing it at a high level, let me think. Basically, you know, I spent my teenage years really obsessing over what is it that makes people want to watch a piece of content? Why do certain pieces of content get hundreds of millions of views? And I just kind of studied virality and obsessed over how do I make a piece of content that people, no matter where they are in the world, they would enjoy it. And that's kind of what, at a high level, I spent a decade of my life doing. And, you know, it kind of started off with me when I was younger. I counted to 100,000. I just sat at a computer, counted for 40 hours straight. And people all around the world were like, what is this idiot doing? And then from there, as I started making money, I started giving it away, doing philanthropic things and doing these bigger and bigger spectacles. And that montage, it showed I buried myself alive for 7 days. So we dug a coffin, put it 10 feet underground, buried me alive for a week. And we just kept doing cooler pieces of content where no matter where you are, if you're, you know, in Asia or America or the Middle East, you know, someone burying themselves alive or someone ordering some food on a delivery app and then tipping the person $1 million. That's content that you find entertaining. And so just really obsessed over how to make global entertaining spectacles that people would enjoy. And yeah, I've been doing that since I was 11 years old. I'm 17 now, and here we are. And then also Speed, I mean, he has an equally crazy story. I mean, this guy can't go anywhere without a horde of people following him.
Yeah, me and Beast kind of started way, like, we do the same thing, but it's not the same thing. But
I'm over here, he's completely over there.
Yeah, but the same lane, kind of. But I started when I was 15, young. I always just loved streaming. I always was in love with streaming, content creation. Grew up watching Mr. Beast. He was an inspiration of mine when I was a kid. I'm 20 now. But as a 15-year-old kid, you know, I was always obsessed with streaming. And I always had this character to me, these tweaks. I was always athletic. I was funny, that and third. So I started streaming. Once I started streaming, you know, I felt like what I always kept something like towards me, I always like kept the authenticity. I always put authenticity over virality, because when you stay to yourself and stay grounded to yourself, you can get way more farther, and your mental is way better, you know, once you just stay true to yourself. So at streaming, as I just kept going, kept growing, you know, I just stayed true to myself, you know, grew as a person, grew as an individual, and I'm here now, you know. So it's great to be here, talking about here at Joy Forum, you know. Let's go. So it's fun.
Well, and he's being very humble. One of the things he also did really well is, obviously, football is very global, and you know, he is very attached to it. He's very athletic. He was doing a lot of content where talking about Ronaldo and talking about what was updated in this
The
football
GOAT.
world. Yeah, and so he, I don't know whether he did it intentionally or not. It was very genius. Basically, rode the biggest sport in the world while being very charismatic, very much himself, and that gave him a lot of global appeal because basically everyone knows and watches football. And since he became kind of synonymous with that, especially in the social media world, it just took him to crazy heights.
I want to ask you guys, did you ever think it would be this big? I mean, you both started very, very young, but did you have this global mindset when you started out, or were you just, you know, did it sneak up on you? You know what I mean? Yeah. Go ahead, Speed.
You want me to kick this off?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, me, heck no. I mean, I would have never thought I got 50 million subs now. I'm known all over the world. Now, I wouldn't, if you asked me this 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, I'd be like, hell no. So, but, I mean, obviously, I'm still growing now, you know. I'm only 20 now, so it's more that I even got to learn from what I know now. But I would have never thought that I even got this far, you know, but things happen.
How about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, that's what's fun is I was in a similar boat as him. I started blowing up in my late teenage years, and so it's funny seeing him because he's still 20. I remember back when I was 20 years old, and so I just have more years on the table than he does. But yeah, when I started when I was 11, I was just like, oh, I want to be able to provide for my mom. Like that would make me elated. Yeah. Now I have like 500 employees, and we're scaling rapidly, and it's definitely crazier than I ever could have imagined. And but the crazy thing is, it's just social media platforms are just growing year over year, and as they get bigger, so do our audiences because we're the largest creators, and so it's pretty wild. Like, you know, if you think about it, 20 years ago, there wasn't like a TV show that people all across the world watched. There wasn't like every country has its own TV networks and stations, and you know, so it wasn't really possible to have, you know, this much reach where. You know, an average one of our videos will get 250, 300 million views. So you grab 33 random people anywhere on the planet, and on average, one of them has seen our newest video, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But that just wouldn't have existed decades ago because there was no media and there was no channel where that could happen. And so that's the beauty of social media is like a website like YouTube. They're probably at 2.5 billion monthly users now. So, you know, that's over a third of the world, or around a third of the world. And so if these trends keep continuing and social media platforms keep growing, the largest creators are just able to reach, you know, literal percentage points of humans alive. And it's this is all relatively new things that we're seeing flush out in real time. And so it's pretty crazy.
No, I see this time. This is what I love about what you're saying when you're talking about the growth of the social media platforms. You know, I'm a little older than you two.
Maybe just a smidge.
Just a smidge. I started out in the sports world. I was a football player who didn't start acting until I was 30 and didn't know it was my gift. Didn't know, but it was a different time then. Back then, when the celebrities, Hollywood basically told you who the celebrities were, and you believed them. But what I like now is that the shine is off celebrity, and you get to pick who you want. It's kind of different. Now, you know, someone who's sitting just like you guys were can be bigger than the Hollywood movie stars. It's never been a time in human history where it's been like that. And that's why I look at this as an opportunity for everybody out there. If you have, but see, you guys had to work, man.
Hey, I started with nothing. I started with a PlayStation 4. And I'm pretty sure any kid out there has a PlayStation or any console in their room. So I didn't have nothing. So you can start off from anywhere, seriously. Like, you don't need the best of the best of equipment. I promise you. When it comes to
that's real. Streaming. And my next question, and you brought it up earlier, authenticity. This question is for both of you. How do you guys keep it real when millions of people are watching you? You know, one thing that a lot of people are really scared of is showing themselves in front of the camera, you know, and showing themselves to the world because, you know, they face ridicule, they face a lot of different things. Talk to me about that process and how you go through it.
I can kick it off. Speed is his content revolves around him solely. Mine, I have more people in my videos, so he'll probably, if you're trying to be really, really, one-on-one with your audience, he probably will have better advice than me. But for the most part, with me, agreed. You want to be able to connect, and it's even harder because we have such global audiences and people all around the world care about different things and grew up differently and things like that. And so. One of the ways that I connect with them is that's why, it might seem silly why, like I referenced earlier, why I buried myself alive for 7 days. But that video is essentially me in a coffin just communicating with my fan base for, 15, 20 minutes because the whole video is just me being buried alive. Or I spent 7 days on a deserted island, 7 days in solitary confinement. We do a lot of videos where, we trap me in things that aren't as fun. But it's just basically a video that revolves around me doing something. And so then I can be vulnerable about the experience and I can connect with my audience. And so for us, it's just mixing in content that allows you to do it. And it is very important because that is the appeal of social media. Is it's not, Speed's not playing a scripted character. He's being himself. So people, like I see some little kids over here, they probably watch Speed stream. And so, they know him like they know their friends. They probably arguably know Speed better than they know their friends just because they've seen him talk more, they've watched him more, and they've heard him speak more. They know more about him. And that's kind of the appeal. If you're not being authentic, people can tell. Like you can't hide it. Like he probably has, I'm just making up a number, but over 10,000 hours of him talking on the internet. Like if he was trying to be someone he's not, people would have noticed. They would have seen a bunch of inconsistencies, and then it just destroys the allure of it.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing with me, I'm 24/7 talking with my fans. I'm a streamer, so I got the chat literally attached to my pan, looking at chat 24/7, talking to them. Inside jokes. I see my fans as my friends, so it's like basically talking to your friends. You just gain a connection with them because I'm just with them every day, 24/7, talking to them, and things happen during the stream, and you grow. It's like you growing with your friends, So that's why with me it's super different because I'm just always talking to them. I'm always on the camera, hours. Like I was live for 35 days just recently, 800 hours straight. So
yeah, he did a live stream where he went to every state in America, didn't stop streaming for 35 days. He streamed when he was sleeping, everything for 35 days straight.
So with that, you just gain just a good bond. You just gain a good connection with them,
No, I can see that. I can see that. This is crazy, man. And I love the connection that you have with both of your audiences. And that is the definition of being authentic. It's funny because I had a question come to me when I had some success after White Chicks and Everybody Hates Chris and Expendables, and people were like, this guy came up to me, he said, hey man, how do you keep up your image? And I said, you don't have one. You just be you. And that's the easiest way to be. And that's the next question that I wanted to ask you guys is, just like I was given this question, what is your piece of advice, your top 3 pieces of advice for the next generation of streamers, of celebrities, of people who really, really want to reach that level that you guys have? 3 things.
For one, I would say, obviously this might be the most cliche one, but it really means a lot, is be yourself. Like, don't try to become me. Try to become a better me, Like, don't try to chase on what I did. Do something, become better to me. Don't become like me, become better to me. So that's the first one that I say. The second one that I would say is, Beast, you help me on this one.
I can jump in and help. Well, I think, yes, that in terms of making the content successful is important. In general, I know this is being broadcasted, and obviously due to our fan base, a lot of younger people are going to see it. I think in general, you should, my biggest thing has always been surround yourself with people who make you what you want to be. Obviously if you spent, the next year, a couple hours a day with me and Speed, you would naturally be infinitely more successful as a content creator. You don't have that ability, but who are the people, the people who go to your school or in your friend group that you can surround yourself with that will push you to be the version of you that, would actually be successful in that? So really, if your closest friends don't care at all about social media or being successful in that regard, then the probability of you succeeding is infinitely lower. So I would start with who are you around, what kind of stuff are you consuming, and then when you do get into creating content, find something that you deeply enjoy because if you look at the data, the number one most coveted job in developed societies is people want to be a YouTuber. That is just 20 years ago, like in the West, it was they wanted to be an astronaut or this or that. Now they just want to be a YouTuber. It's like it crushes every other job by a mile. And so many tens of millions of people are gunning for it. And the reality is, it took him years. It took me decades to make, or over a decade to make it. And if you don't love it, you're going to quit way before you even make it. So it's
something that you got to fall in love with, and you got to put your all into it. You got to be very determined because there's millions of other creators that's trying to do the same thing. So
if the thought of you doing it for 10 years before anyone potentially watching you, which is a real scenario for a lot of people, makes you want to vomit and scares you away, then it's probably not for you. But if you hear that and you go, well, I love doing it, and this is what I'm deeply passionate about, and in my case, when I was 11, I was like, I'm going to become a YouTuber or I'm going to die trying. Those were the only two outcomes. You kind of need that level of stubbornness because to make content that people watch, it has to be better than what's out there, and it's going to take you many years to develop those skills. So if you have people around you who push you, who make you better, who are also obsessed, and you're making content that you deeply enjoy making, and you're fine with doing for a very long time without anyone watching, you at least have the guardrails to achieve success, in my opinion.
Wow, this is good. Was that two? Or we got one more left?
His third one, we'll make his the third one.
We got one more piece of advice left.
All right, let's get one more out of speed.
Okay, one more I would say is, you kind of just pushed all the buttons.
It's good.
Terry, putting him on the spot.
I got another question.
Put me on the spot because he kind of really generalized it, to a point. But another one that I could say is, when it gets hard, it's going to get hard. It's definitely going to get hard, and it's going to be a point where nothing's growing. It might be a point where you have no viewers. I started off with no viewers. So when you get to that point, that wall breaker, it happens to everybody, every creator out there who wants to do this. You just got to push through that, try something new, and keep going. You got to find a new lane. So I started off with 0 viewers, 1 viewer, but I kept going. So,
to allude to the point that you just brought up about it being hard, one thing, I'm going to ask this question because it's not on the list, but, the thing about social media is that it can be unforgiving. And what I mean is the comments. Everybody, you see the comments, you hear the comments. How have you guys dealt with really, bad treatment or comments or, things that can really affect your mental health? This is one thing that I want to bring up, especially with young streamers and different things. How have you guys dealt with naysayers or what you call haters?
I mean, it got to me to a point early in my career. I wasn't used to it, but at the end of the day, you're on the internet, and people are going to say whatever they want about you. People are going to say whatever. They can say whatever about you because you put yourself on the internet. You put yourself in them shoes. But as growing on the internet and streaming for the past 5 years, I gotten better at it. But I just tuned to realize that people are gonna whatever. You can do the best thing in the world, and somebody will still nitpick or say anything bad about that. So what I just started to realize is just, you just got to keep going. You can't listen to it. It don't. Mr. Beast.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll echo on what he's saying and do a +1. And the way I like to view it is exactly what he said. At the scale our audiences is, someone's always going to have an issue with what you're doing. And so it's more a percentage game, right? Like if he does a live stream, 5 million people watch it. If there's only 100 negative comments and there's 10,000 positive ones, then you did something right. Very few things in the world can you get 99% of people to agree on, and so it's just looking because that's where a lot of people run into issues. Is they'll read 20, 30 comments, they'll see 2 or 3 negative ones, and then won't zoom out and look at the macro and realize it's just a very small percentage. And so you know, best case scenario, which is easier said than done, and even I relapse, is just to not, you know, get emotional when reading it and just look at comments as objective feedback. And, you know, if majority of them are like, this is awesome, then you're good. If, you know, 10, 20% roughly are saying something like, oh, I didn't like this, or I didn't think this was creative enough, you know, ideally you can just turn off your emotion and just internalize it and be like, okay, like, why do the fans feel that way, and then apply it. Easier said than done, but that mental toughness, I think, helps a lot. And just, you know, making sure you're in the right frame of mind when you're scrolling it, and make it a little more objective and less emotional, if that makes sense.
That is perfect. And I want to add something to that. Both of those answers were perfect. I'll never forget the first time, you know, I started really getting into my comments. And I saw one, you know, it's like, hey, Terry, you stink. I was like, I'm Mr. Old Spice. So
I was saying,
what
and
are
then
you
he did an
talking
Old
about?
Spice commercial.
It's like, but then...
Wait, actually, on that, can you still do the peck thing from the Old Spice commercial?
That's how I opened the show.
I got to learn that one.
Wait, how many
You got to teach me that.
I know, I will.
How many of
Put
you...
your hands together and just squeeze them together like this. Look at that. It's moving. They're moving. Just squeeze your hands together. There.
This is the riveting stuff they came here for.
The tutorial. But no, I'm gonna tell you what
tutorial.
happened. When I responded to this guy who said you stink, and what was happening is I was getting all into him, and it's what you said. It's like you can't put the attention on the negativity. And I got another comment that said, hey, Terry, you know, we love you, and you never answer us back, but you always answer when people say bad stuff to you. And that really affected me. And I realized that.
Yeah.
I was like, I said, now I have to respond to people who like me and really do what I do for them, you know? And that changed my whole frame of mind. It made my experience on the internet a lot better. So that's just me right there. I have another question for you guys. Man, everything is changing so fast. When we look at the internet, you look at AI, you look at, man, 1 minute, you know, everything's primitive. The next minute, you can shout a prompt into a microphone and the images come out jumping and screaming. How are you ready for the new changes? How are you going to reinvent yourself? Talk to me a little bit about the future of this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun one. Obviously, everyone sees it. Things are developing very fast. I think in our cases, I think it'll push people more towards authentic content, because I think I saw recently that the amount of AI written articles past the amount of human written articles dropping, and it's growing exponentially. But in the terms of content, as more and more of this stuff that's just trained on models drops, people are going to look more for the authentic stuff. And the beauty of creators like us is we have a long-term brand we built over time, where people know that they can trust our videos and they can rely on them, and it's great content. It's just like, you know, when animation came around, it didn't destroy Christopher Nolan films. You know, we still love them. They're still some of the highest grossing movies ever. And so I think it'll be the same case here, and push people for more authentic, real content.
Yeah, because people will always want the real stuff over the fake stuff at the end of the day.
Yes, and then in terms of tools, though, I think it'll be helpful. Like, you know, it's all across what we do. Even something as little as, you know, when we film with 1,000 contestants in our show Beast Games, which actually we shot some of the episodes here earlier this year. It was a lot of fun. Actually, it was in the studio right beside this one. Pretty funny. Yeah, thank you. It was amazing. I was shocked. Your guys' studio space here and just the talent you have here is mind-blowing. And so hoping to shoot a lot more here. But in this regard, just on so I was talking about Beast Games. Since we had 1,000 contestants, part of what typical game shows or competition shows would do is they'll just have a story producer walk up to a person, put a camera on them. They're like, you're the villain, say this, you're this, say this. Whereas we just have cameras rolling 24/7, so we don't have to put words in people's mouths. They can just speak whenever, and we get the footage. Downstream effect of that is we leave with more footage than you could ever imagine. Like our season 1 of Beast Games broke the record for most footage ever filmed in a single production, because we had the most cameras ever in a single production, blah, blah. And so, I mean, we're walking away with 100,000 hours of footage. I mean, I could have an army of editors and they can never watch it all. And so that's where it's nice because, you know, AI can just transcribe what everyone said and then we can search a database. And so if we want footage of someone, you know, being emotional or being excited, we can just search those terms. And so the beauty is it helps the workflow be more efficient. It'll help great editors, in my opinion, be able to accomplish more and achieve more in less time. And so there's a lot of things like that where you never really would have, like when you think of AI, you wouldn't have thought, oh, it will transcribe all this audio and then allow your editors to search clips so they don't have to watch 100,000 hours of footage, they only have to watch 1,000 hours. And there's a lot of benefits like that where it's made my people more productive. And I'm like mind blown because I never would have thought like half the tools we're using would have been a thing.
Have you ever used any of the AI stuff in your stuff?
Have I used ChatGPT? Of course.
Yeah,
I mean, who hasn't?
I'm talking about with the speed though. You know
Me?
what I mean? Like,
There's maybe been one time I was in the country and I searched up ChatGPT, what is it to do in this country? Maybe once or twice. But yeah, I did use it once before. I mean, I don't use it, my content is so like live and raw, there's no room for me to use that because everything is live for me. Like what I'm going to use AI for
the only instance
when I'm live. That's true. You know, he does videos and your videos are long for like thousands of hours of footage. Mine's is just live. I don't have to edit. I don't have to do none of that.
Go ahead.
Well, the only thing I could think of is maybe a live translation, so you could talk to people. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, see, I saw the business changing, and that's one reason why I moved from acting into hosting. Because I knew as a host, when I started hosting America's Got Talent, you can't replace that with anything else. You know what I mean? It's live. It's that energy. And, you know what I mean? New people coming through. It's that, you know, it's like sports. You know what I mean? When you see sports, how do you see sports being a part of, because I know with you, the way you really, you know, brought football to America like it's never been before. And you, Mr. Beast, I mean, do you guys see yourself involved in any of these new sports that are coming up?
Yeah, I mean,
pickleball is paddleball is one of those big things.
You mean like new sports?
Yeah, like new sports. Now you can make one, which is good. Dana White described how he made the UFC, literally created the UFC from scratch a little bit earlier today. You see yourself doing stuff like that?
Maybe in the future I might come up with boxing football. So
you can race
something like that. Yeah.
Race boxing at the end of each race you box.
Yep, race boxing.
Hit you in the face and then you run and then they chase you, right?
Yeah. We should bring to Saudi Arabia.
Guys, this is awesome, man. Everybody, please put your hands together one more time for Jimmy Donaldson, and AKA Mr. Beast and ishowspeed. Listen, I'm gonna stand up here because our time is almost up. Now, we've learned one truth, that the world does not wait for permission anymore. The new age of entertainment is powered by purpose, community, and access. And that's what Saudi Arabia is building. A platform where the next generation of creators, athletes, and dreamers can go global from right here. So, to every dreamer in Riyadh and beyond, pick up your camera, your mic, because your stage is open. And I'm gonna hand it to Jimmy Donaldson. Take him out, AKA Mr. Beast.
Oh, wow. Hard to follow that one up, but I agree, and I want to echo, because I mean, obviously, I look at a lot of data on social media. Tons of people are starting to really crush it over here in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, and I want to just keep encouraging it. You know, tell your stories, make accounts. I mean, you know, when I started, I was a nobody in a small town, and you know, everyone would make fun of me for wanting to be a YouTuber, and here we are. And you know, I'm sure if you saw Speed 6 years ago, you'd be like, this guy's never going to be, you know, the superstar he is. And so we all start somewhere, and I want to encourage you guys to get out there and you know, really tell your stories and let the world know what you have to say. And Speed, you want to wrap us up?
Wrap this up with a backflip. Y'all know me, man.
All right, I can't do that, but heck yeah. Thank you guys for having us. This was amazing.
Thank y'all, Saudi Arabia. Thank you. Excellent.